Hi and welcome back to the channel. This is going to be the last episode in the Range Rover Sport saga, which, if you'd seen the previous videos, it was involved in an accident just over 3 weeks ago and hit by an uninsured driver. So I've gone through the insurance company obviously, and I've had the payouts, which I also mentioned in the last video. And subsequent to that, the car was a total write-off, and it's now being collected. It was collected on Monday, so I was really sad to see that car go because I really loved it. It was a 2010 model, and I really considered buying another Range Rover, not the L320, but the next model up, which was the L494, I believe it is, or a Range Rover Evoque or a Discovery Sport. And I looked around. Now I wanted to go to a main dealer because you get up to two years warranty on a used car with Range Rover, Land Rover these days. And you know, I looked at the models available and the prices of them, and it looked as though they were quite pricey compared to what I was prepared to pay, to be honest. I've got a budget of up to 24,000 or so, but then I started to look at other cars, and I've spotted a few that I was interested in, so I've had a look at some, and I've gone with, obviously now, you know, a non-Range Rover product. However, I'm not necessarily going to say goodbye to the Range Rover brand because I really like them, but once one of my other projects is out of the way, probably the Rover P4, and that'll be sometime late next year or early the following year. Late this year or early 2027, I would hope to go back into the Range Rover or Land Rover ownership. A project maybe, but stay subscribed to the channel and we'll actually go through what I'm thinking of a bit later on. So as I say, I've looked at various models and I ended up with this particular car, which I'll show you around in a minute. I know I'm going to keep repeating myself, but you know, I wish I'd have been able to keep the Range Rover Sport, but what's involved in getting it back on the road and wanting a daily driver while I do that, you know, it just makes sense to say goodbye to it. You know, it's at Copart now, and as I said in the last video, if anyone wants to go and have a look at it, please do so and let me know if anyone does. So, what have I bought? Well, I paid just over £21,000 for this particular car. It's a 2019 model, and I don't think, unless you've owned one before or sat in one, you'll be able to guess exactly what it is. There is a little clue, and that clue is just behind me here. I'll just pick you up and show you, and you'll probably know what it is straight away. So you'll probably be able to see there, and that's a Swedish flag. If you know your flags, you should do. It's a Volvo. It's the Volvo XC40, four-wheel drive. It's the Inscription T5 model. It's a petrol. So I wouldn't have a hybrid or an electric car anyway, because my personal feelings about the subject, which I may go into in another video, but this isn't that time. So yeah, this is the top of the range XC40 at the time, and it's loaded with all sorts of stuff. And again, I'll show you quickly around the car and what it looks like, and then we'll sort of I'll come back in the car, wrap it up, and then you can look forward to a full review of this car in the coming weeks. So I'll just turn the car on and have a quick look at the inside of the car. So we have a nice center console there with a main screen. They're all digital, and this thing's absolutely loaded. I mean, it's got to have more computing power than my old laptop. There you go, Volvo. It's got a leather interior and it's really nice. Just get out and we'll have a quick walk around it and see what you think. And it's got quite a big boot actually, and quite a bit of space underneath as well. Folding seats. Oh sorry, I forgot. It's actually got a self-locking boot. So let's sit back inside and I'll tell you a little bit more about it. So the car's powered by a petrol engine. As I said, it's a 2 litre, 240 brake horsepower, so it's a damn sight quicker than the Range Rover Sport, but that's not necessarily the reason I bought it. I bought it because it's got more than I'll ever need on a car. I'm not a massive fan of digital displays and digital this, that and the other. I'm a bit old-fashioned in that respect, but we want a nice, reliable, comfortable, safe car that we can put the dog in the back of and go to different places. And yes, the Range Rover would cover all of those aspects, but at a premium, and at the moment I wasn't prepared to pay that premium, because I thought, yeah, we want something that will hold its price, and I think it'll hold its price a little bit better than Range Rover. You might dispute that, but from looking around, that's the opinion I was led to. I'm happy with it. It drives great, and again I'll do a review video of that at some point in the near future. So it's got a 12-month warranty, it's got a full service history, it's covered 41,000 miles, which is below average, but it's not ultra low. And I like to have a car that has been used and not just done short journeys, although, as you know, if you've seen my past videos, that's what my Range Rover Sport did for a good number of years. and it was still reliable. Had a few issues coming up which needed addressing, but that was cut short by the plonker that caused the accident. So that is a wind up to this video. It was meant to be short, but it's gone on longer than I planned. Please let me know what you think about my choice, whether you agree with it or not. I know a lot of you won't agree with it, but a Range Rover or a Land Rover product will be coming back to the channel soon. So once the Rover's gone, I might even go for a Land Rover Series 3. I've always fancied one of those. Or perhaps another L320. That needs a bit of work on it. You've always got to have a project, haven't you? Anyway, I'm waffling again. So please let me know what you think. And that's the end of the video. Thanks for watching.